Okay, so now we continue with the monohybrid cross. Mono means one, okay? One characteristics, one cross, one gene that show the cross. So monohybrid cross always relate with the Mendel's first law. Mendel's first law, also known as the law of segregation. Okay, so monohybrid cross, inheritance of one single characteristics. For example, color. The color of the flower is only one characteristic. The height of the plant, tall or short, okay, only one characteristic. So Mendel did the experiment for the cross between purple flower and white flower, and he found that all the first generation appear as purple color. But when he crossed the purple flower with the purple flower from the first generation, he found that there is a ratio of 3 purple flower to 1 white flower in the second generation. So this made him wonder, why appear the white color as the second generation since he only crossed purple and purple in the first generation? Okay, so he came out with the conclusion here for the Mendel's first law, law of segregation. So law of segregation say that two alleles of a heritable character segregate during gamete formation, end up with different gametes. Okay, so before this we have learned that alleles always appear in a pair. For example, we have allele A and allele A. So these allele appear as pair, they segregate during gamete formation. So during gamete formation, they separate, become big A and big A, and end up with different gametes. Okay, so you can see the diagram here, the relationship of Mendel's law with the concept of meiosis here. Okay, example. We have homozygous dominant parent with a pair of homozygous A, big A. Homozygous recessive parent with a pair of small a. So now, during prophase 1, homologous chromosome pair up to form the tetrads. So now these become homologous chromosome. Okay, so they form the big A, big A, big A, big A. Okay, because later they want to separate into different gametes. During anaphase 1, okay, anaphase 1, homologous chromosome separate and pull towards opposite pole. So now this homologous chromosome pair already separate. So from the diploid become haploid now. Okay, so the big A, big A, big A, big A is here. So during anaphase 2, centromere of the sister chromatid separate and the sister chromatid move to opposite pole. So now you have big A, big A, big A, big A. Same goes to homozygous recessive parents. During prophase 1, homologous chromosome pair up to form tetrads. Then during anaphase 1, homologous chromosome separate. During anaphase 2, sister chromatid separate. So when this dominant gamete fuse with the recessive gamete, so they will produce the heterozygous offspring, big A, small a. Okay, so now how to draw a genetic diagram for a monohybrid cross. I'll show you how to draw. Okay, so usually for a genetic diagram, we must have several things. Okay, first one, we must have the P. P stands for parents' generation. Okay, so what we should write in parents' generation is the genotype of the parents. For example, now we want to do a cross between A and A. A represent tall, small a represent short. Okay, tall allele and also short allele. So now parents is the cross between tall plant and short plants. Okay, so this is homozygous tall, this is homozygous short. So second things appear in genetic diagram, you must have G. G represent gametes. So like I show you in the diagram of meiosis just now, gametes for the pair of allele, they segregate. Okay, end up in different allele if different gamete. So this big A segregate. Small a segregate. Okay, next one in this diagram we must have the F1 generation. F1 generation means first generation. First generation from the parents. So now big A cross with small a. Okay, you cannot cross big A with big A because these both come from the same parent. So now big A cross with small a, they become big A, small a. So this big A, small a phenotype is tall. Okay, how we know it's tall? Because they still consist of this dominant allele here. Alright, so next one, we conduct a self-cross. So self-cross, like I said, is the cross between the same generation. So F1 cross with F1. So what is the genotype of F1? It is heterozygous. Big A small a cross with big A small a. So the same thing, we need to form the gamete. Okay, so the gamete here is big A and small a. For this one, also big A and small a. Alright, so now the next generation is called F2 generation. F2 generation means second generation. Okay, so now big A cross with big A to form big A, big A. Next one, big A cross with small a become big A, small a. This one, big A cross with small a, and the last one, small a cross with small a. So let's see what is the phenotype. Okay, what you wrote here, big A, small a, that is the genotype. So what is the phenotype of this generation? Big A is tall. Big A, small a is short. Big A, small a, is tall. Okay, it's tall because it has dominant case. This one, big A, small a, also tall. Small a is short. So say that the ratio here is 3 tall to 1 short. Okay, so this is the phenotype ratio. Phenotype ratio 3 tall to 1 short. What about the genotype ratio? So for genotype ratio, 1 big A to 2 big A, small a, okay, to 1 small a, small a. So this is the magic number we should remember for monohybrid self-cross. Okay, monohybrid self-cross, because it is the F1 generation cross with F1 generation. So the ratio is 3, 1, 1, 2, okay, 1, 2, 1. So 3, 1 stands for phenotype ratio. 1, 2, 1 stands for genotype ratio. Okay, so this is for monohybrid self-cross. Okay, so next one I will continue with monohybrid test cross. Okay, monohybrid test cross. So like we said just now, what is test cross? Test cross is to check the unknown genotype. So now, first we start with the parent generation. So again, we use the letter A to represent tall allele and the small letter a to represent the short allele. Okay, so first we start with the test cross. Okay, test cross, one of the characteristics of test cross, they must cross with the homozygous recessive. Okay, because this is the known phenotype. This is short. The unknown genotype, we know that this is tall, but we are not sure whether it is homozygous or heterozygous. So let's say this is heterozygous. Okay, let's say we know that it is tall. So if it is heterozygous, what is the gamete? Okay, so gamete here, remember the first law of Mendels Law of segregation. A pair of allele will segregate during gamete formation. Okay, while for this, both of them the same. So either you want to write it once or twice also can. So for me, I write it once. Okay, because it's the same result. So now F1 generation, big A cross with small a. Big A, small a. Small a cross with small a. Small a, small a. So what is the phenotype of this F1 generation? This one appear as tall, this one appear as short. So now 50% of them is tall, 50% of them is short. So the genotype and phenotype ratio, okay, the genotype ratio is 1 big A small a to 1 small a small a. Phenotype ratio is also 1 to 1. It is 1 tall to 1 short. Remember, the ratio here doesn't mean the number. So if we have 100 individuals, okay, there will be 50 of them tall, 50 of them short. Okay, this is the ratio, or we say that 50% and 50%. So this is the result of the monohybrid test cross. So if you get 1, 1 as the ratio, then we know that this unknown genotype is heterozygous. Okay, so in other case, if the parent generation unknown, okay, now this is monohybrid test cross, the unknown genotype is big A crossed with a homozygous recessive. This is a must. Okay, so now gamete, this one is big A, this one is small a. They segregate, right? But both of them the same, so I only write once. So now F1 generation, big A, small a. So the characteristic, tall, 100% of them tall. Okay, so if you get 100% tall, none of them short, then you can make a conclusion that this unknown genotype is homozygous dominant. So this is the purpose that we carry out a test cross. So as a conclusion, monohybrid test cross is to test the genotype of the unknown individual. So if we get 1, 1, so we make conclusion that the unknown individual is heterozygous. If we get the result 100% dominant, means that it is homozygous dominant. Okay, that's for monohybrid cross.